Late last week, we spoke with retiring West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin, known for playing a pivotal, sometimes frustrating role with Democrats in many of their legislative achievements. The full interview is on our YouTube channel and website. For the broadcast, we looked to next year when Republicans are fully in charge of Washington. So when you were speaking to us on Face the Nation last January, you said, "I love my country too much to vote for Donald Trump. I think it would be very detrimental to my country." He's the president-elect. Do you think he is detrimental to America?
January 6th was a bridge too far for me, and I think everyone knows that. I was one of the few Democrats that went over and worked with him, and we always got along great. We were very friendly. We just had disagreements on some things, but you can do that. When the people speak and they make their choice and the election's over, you better pray everything you have that the president will be successful. This is about our country, and I want him to succeed, and I have said this to him. I'll do whatever I can to help in any way humanly possible.
But you've talked about the need to return to bipartisanship and
Sure.
regular order. Donald Trump is promising to destroy regular order, upend the system.
I have
How do you reconcile that?
I have total confidence and faith in my Republican Senate colleagues that are institutionalists that will not let that happen. They have the chance, they have the power. And I think there's enough Republican senators and Democrat senators too that are not going to let the filibuster blow apart. They're not going to let basically run amok of the reconciliation process just to do anything they want to. It takes 4 Republican senators, just 4. And I guarantee you, I think there's a lot more than 4.
Who are going to hold the line?
That'll protect the institution. They've been here long enough. What goes around comes around. And in 2 years, this thing could flip. 2026, you never know. It's the power of the people.
In the first 100 days of the Trump administration, leader John Thune has said he plans a once-in-a-generation investment in border security, but he's going to try to do it without Democratic votes, using that reconciliation process you just talked about. So with 51 votes, not the 60. You're saying right now that this is not how the system's supposed to work.
It's not supposed to be on
and
policy.
yet that is what the Republican leader is saying he's going to do right out of the gate.
Hold on, Margaret. If he's going to have to show the financial connotation and the cost it's costing and how it's harming our country, if it's harming it and the financial burden that we're carrying because of all the illegals coming, and he can tie that to it, then he'll have a pathway for it.
And then step 2 is tax reform. That's
Tax
the
reform
plan.
definitely falls in it.
Also through reconciliation.
Yeah. Well, here, I followed Chuck Schumer and Joe Biden starting out in their 117th Congress with the ARP. I begged the president,
The American Rescue Plan.
American Rescue Plan, not to go in reconciliation. That's basically when you've given up that you can't work with the other side. They come out of the box that way. So this is the plan that the Republicans are following now, that the Democrats basically showed them the pathway.
But is it a strategic mistake?
Oh, I think it is.
But the Inflation Reduction Act, the IRA, you played a big role in crafting. That was party line. That was through reconciliation.
That's how the vote came down. We wrote that bill in my committee, and I guarantee you, I had over 5 years of input for Republicans. But because of reconciliation, they don't cross over and vote. That's just the way it was.
And you feel good about that?
Well, I feel horrible about that we had to do it in reconciliation. I felt horrible about that. But I can tell you, the United States of America has benefited from that. We didn't fall into a recession. We brought down inflation from 9 to 3%. We brought down gas prices from $5 to $3. We did all of that. But the supply chains were so broken because of the pandemic. The prices of everyday staple of life, food, things of that sort made us almost unbearable for people with the burden they were carrying. The IRA kept the United States economy in better shape than any place else in the world during the pandemic. That's a fact.
The president-elect has vowed to repeal it.
Well, I think there's some things that need to be fixed. When you pass a piece of legislation and you write the bill, and we wrote it as tight as we possibly could, and then they start basically putting the rules to it. If the White House says, I want this type of interpretation, that makes it very, very liberal interpretation. It's not what the bill was supposed to do. I said, you people are going down the primrose path, which is horrible. We didn't write the bill that way. In spite of themselves trying to liberalize and putting EVs out and all the critical minerals, we're still depending on China when we're supposed to be weaning ourselves off of China. He can fix that immediately. President Trump can come in here and change some of those rules to get back and then change the bill. It'll be his energy bill. But
so reprogramming some of these funds, you'd be okay with.
Absolutely.
There are things in there, tax credits for nuclear, biofuels. Do you think parts of this will survive?
I think it almost has to. The investments are made, and most of the investments, the majority of the investments are made in what you would consider red states, Republican states. That's just because of what they do and how they operate, like West Virginia.
And you didn't hear much about that from the Democratic ticket.
They couldn't talk about it. He was tongue-tied. I had no idea. I kept saying, can't you just tell what the bill did? They were saying renewable, renewable, renewable. Only thing I said, you cannot eliminate your way to a cleaner environment, Margaret. You can't just say, I want to get rid of coal, I want to get rid of oil, I want no gas, I want nothing extracted. We're going to do everything with renewables. We'd be a third world country. You can't keep this economy running. Now, you can do it with innovation, technology. So I said, we're going to produce what we need. We do it cleaner and better than anywhere in the world. Producing more. So the bill did exactly on energy production. You wouldn't be number one in the world right now, 30 trillion cubic feet of gas, 4.7 billion barrels of oil. You wouldn't do that if we hadn't written that bill. He can take that and even go further with it. There are so many good things in that bill that he can change it, change the name, it'll be his. I'll help any way I can.
You sound, speaking about energy policy, like a Republican.
I hope I sound like an American. It makes sense, okay? My Democrat friends were so far off the rail. Okay, I love them all, but I say, guys, but a lot of them really understand it. They just can't speak it because the base is going so far. And that's, I couldn't take it anymore.
Alaska Senator Lisa Murkowski, she is a Republican, but she's also known for being pretty independent.
She's the best of the best, my dear friend.
She said the next 4 years are going to be hard. The Trump administration's approach is going to be everybody toe the line, everybody line up. We got you here, and if you want to survive, you better be good, or we will primary you.
Thank God for ranked choice voting. Without ranked choice voting, my dear friend Lisa wouldn't be here. Or open primaries. If the Democrat and Republican Party control the primaries, they can control you up here. So they're going to say, hey, Margaret, I'm sorry, you just didn't toe the line right. You didn't vote with us when we needed you, so I'm going to find somebody else that I can control.
Who else is going to stand up to the president-elect when they disagree and be willing to say so out loud? Are there other senators up here who will do it?
I would hope, my father used to tell me, if you can say no with a tear in your eye, you're okay. If you can do it with respect and just say, Mr. President, I'm so sorry. Where I come from, that doesn't make sense. I can't explain it back home. I never just say, oh, you're wrong. You can't start out a conversation that's going to end productive if I tell you how bad you are.